This is George from iTech Legion. With nVidia's Maxwell launch, they kind of started in a strange way, starting at the bottom and then starting at the top, leaving nothing in the middle. Kind of a peculiar circumstance, given that nVidia's 60 series is the most popular gaming card on the market right now, according to Steam. Right now, Steam says the three most played cards on their website are the GTX 660, 760, and 560 in that order. That pretty much stands to reason, just out of the fact that you're getting the most bang for the buck right at that price point. A little over $200, able to play almost every game imaginable at 1080p, so you're really getting a lot for your money. But now, nVidia is releasing the GTX 960 as the successor to the GTX 760, using Maxwell architecture, and we're going to get a look at the first card from MSI. What we've seen from Maxwell so far in the GTX 980 and 970 as well as the 750 Ti is incredible efficiency, able to run at very low power with great performance, also very, very low heat dissipation. So it's worked out very well. Now the 960 is going to follow suit. Now of course, coming in at the main price point that nVidia is going to try to reach, you've got some pretty gaudy specs on the 960 itself, just on the reference piece. 8 streaming multiprocessors, 1024 CUDA cores, 64 texture units, effective memory speed of 9300 megahertz. It's actually, physically it's 7010, but a new compression algorithm is allowing it to run at an effective 9300. L2 cache size of 1024K, 2 gigabytes of GDDR5, running on a 128-bit memory interface, and total memory bandwidth of 112.16 gigabytes per second. So like I say, we're getting quite a bit going here. It's built on a 28 nanometer fabrication process, and what's really standing out here, the 960 is made to run on a recommended PSU of only 400 watts. So you're seeing really quite a decrease there. So really the question being here, what is MSI doing with this reference 960? You got a lot of horsepower here, like I say, and what is MSI going to do? Well, first off, as you see, it's a gaming edition. Let's take a quick look at the box first. MSI Gaming Editions all come in black and red color scheme. As we've seen before, this is the GTX 960 Gaming 2G, and on the front uses Twin Frozr V, although this one's actually a little specialized that we'll get into. 2 gigabytes of GDDR5, 3.0 PCI, overclock edition. We do have an overclock on this card. So moving around to the back, going through here, you see all of the specs that I was just rattling off as far as the GTX 960. But what we're seeing here from MSI, first off, of course, MSI used their own printed circuit board here, all military class components, just as they always do. All the gaming editions use the MSI Gaming Software, which we're going to take a look at. Really interesting, easy one-click controls over the card itself as far as the overclock and fan noise, and also works, of course, with MSI Afterburner as well. So now, looking on, you've got the Torx fans, so very, very quiet cooling, very effective cooling. SuperSU pipe, very, very effective heatsink and heat pipe combination used on the GTX 960 gaming, as we see here. Zero Frozr. What the Zero Frozr actually does, fans stay idle at lower temperatures and will only spin up as needed. This makes for a dead silent computing experience. Absolutely no fan noise. What we found during testing was the fans actually stayed idle, didn't move until the GPU hit 60 degrees, which it rarely did. This is probably the quietest card we've ever used. Even during testing, fans never topped 550 RPM during stress testing. So you can imagine it was incredibly quiet, never audible outside the case. And as I was just saying, it does come with the gaming app that we're going to get a look at in the second video for this card itself. Specifications right here: GeForce GTX 960, 2 gigabytes of memory, as I said, 128-bit memory interface, and dual-link DVI HDMI DisplayPort 3. Now, what they don't show you on the box here is this is an overclock card. Out of the box, it comes with an overclock of 1216 megahertz on the base clock, 1279 on the boost clock. That's up from 1126 on the base clock of a stock GTX 960 with the stock boost only being 1178. So you get a nice little boost there. And we also did find it overclocked very well. So now, taking a look at the card itself, MSI does a really nice job with the gaming edition. Like I say, they use a red and black color scheme. Very, very distinctive look, as you see. You can see the Torx fans, MSI logo on one, the MSI Gaming Dragon logo on the other. PCI Express slot, you've got a little bit of an adornment of the red going through here as well on the shroud. Over on the other side, you get a look at, you got some very, very nice heat sinks heat pipes going here, 2 6mm. This appears to be 1/8. It's a little hard to tell just out of the fact that it's not perfectly round at any point, but it does appear to be 2 6s, 1/8 on the one side and 2 6s on the other. So you do have a good amount of heat pipe. Once again, MSI logo going right here. So this being the side you're going to see in the case. Uses a single 8-pin connector. The reference GTX 960 uses a 6-pin. The MSI uses a single 8-pin. You do have the upgraded VRM and power delivery system, so naturally stands to reason. Getting a look at the circuit board itself. It is an MSI made circuit board. As you can see, all done in black. Really nice looking, very nicely laid out, very neatly done. MSI does very, very nice manufacturing on the circuit board itself. Over on the other side, we do have the SLI slot right here, as you can see with the pull-off. And moving over to the back, you can see you've got 3 display ports, 1 HDMI stuck in the middle of them, and only a single DVI connector. You also do have a vent right here, which is going to help to aspirate the card and get the hot air out of the case. It doesn't really do all that much of a job, obviously. It's a very small area, but hey, anything helps, right? So really a great looking card, like I say, from MSI, and specs out very, very well. You know, like I say, the Twin Frozr just worked phenomenally during our testing. Really, like I say, the quietest card that we've done in quite some time. Now, let's take a look under the shroud. Now, there are 2 reasons I wanted to get under the shroud. First off, of course, take a look at the heat sink, Twin Frozr. Like I say, really nice looking, very, very large heat sink. Covers basically the entire length of the card, and with the heat pipes running through, does a phenomenal job. Great passive cooling from this piece, like I say, so that you don't need as much fan as you normally would. The other big reason I did want to show you this, now it is still attached as you see, but the shroud is easily removable. You do have the one wire here for the LED. There is an LED in the MSI logo, which also can be set to pulse or breathe, etc. Through the MSI gaming app that we'll get to see. But it's simply 4 screws, the fans stay in place. You can take the LED out, 3 screws, or it's actually Torx, right on the side. The reason this is really nice, you know, if you're doing any customizing or you want to match a theme in your case, very easy to remove the shroud. Also very easy to take the red and black pieces apart and paint them individually. So you can do some really nice modification work here, get it matching your case perfectly without a whole lot of work. Like I say, it's simply 4 screws. You just need to get in there behind the fan blade. Right there, you just need to hold the fan blade in place. You will want a magnetic tip screwdriver to get the screw out and put it back in. But like I say, very easy disassembly. So now that we've looked at the card itself, let's get a look at the performance of the MSI GTX 960 Gaming. Now I have to say, I definitely liked what we saw from the GTX 960 platform as a whole. As far as performance, it was definitely a step up from the GTX 760 that it's replacing, and actually was on par with the GTX 770 in an awful lot of the tests we did. In a lot of the gaming tests, especially the less demanding games, it absolutely stayed with the GTX 770. In the more demanding games, it did fall behind it a little bit, but that's to be expected. You know, you're talking about a card, the 960, that's going to retail for, $220, $230, and you're comparing it to a card that just 6 months ago, was going for $350 to $400. So, I mean, you've got a really nice step up there. The other big thing being, The GTX 960 has 120 watt TDP, so it's really, really sipping power. All it needs is one 6-pin to operate and a 400 watt PSU. So you've got some really good things going with the GTX 960 platform in general. Now, what did MSI do with it that's special? Well, I have to tell you, I really love the Twin Frozr V. It was an absolutely incredible performer. The fans really never turned on during our tests. The highest they ever hit was 600 RPM. In terms of silent computing, you're not going to get better than the MSI GTX 960 gaming. No question about that. Like I say, that Twin Frozr really did its job. Do the Torx fans work well? You know, it's really hard to say because, like I say, they never turned on. The passive cooling was just really incredible. It was really that good. Now, the other thing, the GTX 960 gaming had the lowest factory overclock of any of the cards we tested out of the box. However, you'll notice it was at the top or right close to the top in all the tests. Every single benchmark. It didn't lag behind anywhere. Reason for that being, and I'm not sure if it's by design, but the GTX 960 gaming had continually the best boost clocks of any of the cards we tested. I had no problem running at 1455 right out of the box of the boost clock when it was loaded up. And when we overclocked it, actually hit 1565 and stayed there during the tests. Tremendous boost clock and just tremendous performance from the MSI. So overall, obviously, I'm going to give the GTX 960 a High-Tech Legion Editor's Choice Award. We've never seen this kind of performance at this price point. The silence is absolutely incredible. And, you know, another, like I say, nice thing that, you know, some people may not care about is the fact that that shroud does come apart, you know, comes off very easily, comes apart very easily, can be customized. You know, you may not care about that, but then again, that might be a big selling point for you if you're doing a case based on, you know, a build based on looks, and you're not going to suffer in terms of performance. So a fabulous job by MSI on the GTX 960 Gaming 2G and a High-Tech Legion Editor's Choice Award.